Yeah, kid. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer Podcast. My name is Charles, a.k.a. the Handsome Homebuyer, a.k.a. Captain Permit, a.k.a.
El Judío Maravilloso.
a.k.a. the soon-to-be 2020 LLS Man of the Year. Amazing guest today. Today's guest doesn't realize this, but he's my hero at only 8 years old, and he's an inspiration and a hero to many, and he doesn't even realize it. But before we go there, Matt, do you know who else is a hero to anybody who has an issue with the building department?
Captain Permit.
Damn right, Captain Permit. 516-513-8838. If you need plans, you need permits. If you need anything permit related, from coast to coast, from the Queens to Montauk, interior alterations, renovations, decks, sheds, new construction, you name it, we do it, and we have the best team in the business. And obviously, I'm the Handsome Home Buyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, is dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, commercial land, gas stations, nursing homes, anything real estate related. I'm quick, I'm easy, I'm a good time. Today I'm impressive. I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. So, a few months ago, my very close friend Beth Lowe and Devin Kulka. Do you know Beth Lowe and Devin Kulka?
I don't.
Came to me and they said, we want you to run for Man of the Year at the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. We want you to sit down. We want to introduce you to somebody, Megan Doyle, and want to tell you about what they're doing and what it's about. And I knew nothing about it. I had a personal connection with cancer. I would say all my grandparents had passed away from cancer. My mother had cancer twice in a very rare form of cancer, colon cancer called familial polyposis, where she was lucky enough they found it when she was 50. But as a doctor described it to me, he said, you shouldn't even be here because most people that have familial polyposis, they get it in their late teens and they don't know, and then they don't make it past like 25. Wow. So the fact that she made it to 50 is unbelievable. So I have a close connection to it, and I just feel like those of us that we all have a responsibility to give back and help. And the more I learned, the more passionate I became about it, and it just grew and grew and grew. So the LLS Man and Woman of the Year competition begins April 2nd. We have a ton of amazing events that we're going to be doing, and the goal is very, very simple: to add value and bring awareness to leukemia and lymphoma, specifically the childhood blood cancers. Just to my knowledge, there have only been 4 drugs approved since 1980. Is that correct? For children. So what they're essentially doing, and our guest today will speak more about this as they tell their story, they essentially use adult drugs and then try to kind of water them down, for lack of a better word. It's a massive problem. It affects way more people than you ever know. So today's guests, the Starace family. I got that right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Yes. Specifically Ryan and Luke. Welcome everybody to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Good to be here. Good. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So a little bit of background on you guys, where you come from, where you grew up, and then if you can kind of get into the story about, how things developed, the family, your struggle, and how things are going now.
Sure. My name's Nicole Starace. I'm Ryan's mom and Luke's mom. And we're here with my husband, Jim.
Hello.
Jim and I have been married for 10 years. And I grew up in Lindenhurst.
Oh, nice.
And
I grew up in Hauppauge.
And we got married 10 years ago and had our first child, Luke, in 2010. And then Ryan came along in 2013. And in 2017, it was the beginning of the year, January, Ryan was 4 years old. Mm-hmm. And like any typical 4-year-old, he was sick. He had a cold. He didn't feel good. So we took him to the pediatrician, and she told us it was a virus. Go home, if nothing changes, call us, come back. And that kind of went on for about 6-7 weeks, back and forth. He would get better, he would get worse, he would get better, he would get worse, but nothing that alarmed us to the point where we thought anything major was going on. And then it was like mid-February, and I started seeing like a rapid decline in his health. And I went to her, the pediatrician. I suggested that we do some blood work and see if something more serious was going on. I kind of thought maybe autoimmune disease or Lyme's disease or something. That blood test came back, and she was like, nothing really is going on. So we were like, okay, business as usual. And then a few days later, his health started really going downhill. They repeated the blood test, and within a few days, it changed dramatically. And she had us going to see the Stony Brook hematologist the following day. So that was like February 25th. And then he was we brought him to the emergency room. And then they admitted him that day, and he stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. And on February 28th, 2017, he was diagnosed with leukemia.
Yeah. Because it seems all the stories I hear, the people that I talk to, it's kind of similar. Like they're symptoms, but they don't really know. Is there things that people can look for, or to catch it early, or to just be more aware in general?
Night sweats. That was something that we kind of thought was odd, but we kind of swept under the rug. It would just, you would come in at night to check up on him and completely sweat through his pajamas, and the pillowcase completely wet. And night sweats is a symptom of leukemic activity in the blood.
Yeah.
Also, what's that rash with the...
Petechia. It's just like a small dotted red rash that appears all over the body that could be mistaken for, any sort of like topical rash. But along with the other symptoms, it's...
I would say pain in anywhere there might be like a lymph node under the arms or like the neck. If that was something that was he had, that definitely was a result of the leukemic activity in his blood.
Right. A lot of the symptoms were there, but until we realized what was going on, we didn't know that they were all part of the puzzle of leukemia.
Because you figure also at such a young age, kids get sick. How serious?
Right.
It's just the last thing you're thinking of when your kid gets sick.
Right.
It's the absolute last thing.
I can't even imagine.
Right.
So at that point, what happens? I mean, I can't even
Your whole
imagine.
world just crumbles, and everything you knew gets thrown out the window, and
You have to establish a new normal.
right.
I can remember the night of being told that he has leukemia, just kind of sorting it out in my own head, and like saying to myself, like, your son has cancer now, and this is, you're gonna have to step up and make sure that he survives, and fight for him, and make sure that the treatment he gets is the right treatment, and all of that. It's just it's like a coming to bat. You get the news, and you just have to roll up your sleeves and dive in and go for it.
Yeah, but I mean, but you have to give yourself a ton of credit, because I think there's something like this, as terrible as, and I hope this podcast brings awareness to the cause, and helps put things in perspective for people, because I think people in general, they go about their life, and they're just kind of disconnected, and they think things are real serious, or they have real serious problems when they really, really don't.
Right.
And something like this really puts in perspective and gives, I have to give a ton of credit to you, because a lot of people in your situation could have just broken down. You know what I mean? They not everybody at like the flip of a switch can, harness that inner strength and say, all right, we're dealing with this, but we're going to deal with this, and we're going to take care of it, and whatever it is, we're going to do it as a family, and it's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So
You have to.
Yeah.
It's you're
You
looking
have your
into
weak
the.
moments, but
Of course, how do you not? You're human,
Yeah.
It's your 4-year-old child that you feel like you're supposed to do, everything to protect them, and
Yeah.
here's something that you cannot control at all.
Yeah.
It's completely out of your control. So, to put all your faith, trust, and, everything you have into these doctors' hands it takes a lot. But you have to come together as a family, because our strength as a family is really what held us together. His strength. I mean, he's 4 years old, and he was so strong that I think we got a lot of our strength from him, really.
So at that point, did you get in did you reach out to LLS? Like, what are the steps that people can take once they're there? Because I think, you have the internet, and obviously anytime anything happens, people go directly to the internet for everything.
Right.
And the internet makes your mind go all over the place, and it's a lot of misinformation. How do people that have a situation like this or something similar, what was your process of getting in touch with LLS? How did they guide you through the process? What have they done for you, and what do you recommend for other people?
So obviously when this happens, you get bombarded with tons of information and tons of organizations that can help you and get you through financially, emotionally, every aspect of your journey. There's an organization out there to help you. And with Ryan having leukemia, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society struck me as something that I felt like we needed to be a part of. So I think it was 4 months from Ryan's diagnosis, I reached out to them because they had the Light the Night walk going on.
Okay.
In the fall. They have that in October, usually every year. So I saw something and I reached out to them and I said, I want to get involved. I just want to start a team and, start raising money. My son was just diagnosed. I feel like I need to do something to give back, to help. I feel like I need to be a part of the process that's going to cure my son. I can't just sit here and watch anymore. So that's how we initially got involved. In that first year, he was only 4 months into treatment. We raised $7,000 from like a lemonade stand in our front yard, like in our driveway. And we did Light the Night that October, and I think it was one of the best experiences for our entire family. Right. I mean, it was just the most amazing, special, sentimental community like moment just that we've experienced, especially in the darkness of like all the stuff was going on with him.
Yeah, and then that was kind of your initial intro to the LLS.
Right.
What have they done? How have they helped? How have they helped you through the process? What have you guys been going through as a family, and to get us to this point, which I hear there's excellent news around the corner.
Yes. So LLS is available. Like I said, you can reach out to them. They have financial help. They have emotional help. They have community help. They have help for not only the patient but the siblings. They have help for the parents. They have so many resources available to them. So if anybody is in that position and they do have some type of form of blood cancer, feel free to reach out to LLS because there are amazing people there that will help you. And our process right now is to just, finish Ryan's treatment. And I kind of got lost.
So he goes to the clinic how many times now?
Right. So now we're going into our last phase of treatment, which is his 11th cycle of chemotherapy.
And this has been going on for 3 years?
It's been going on for 3 years. So he's been, when you get leukemia as a boy, you get treated for 3 years.
It's different as a girl?
It's different. So girls get treated for 2.5 years.
Why is that?
Because leukemia hides in the testicles for boys. So they treat that longer. Leukemia can also travel to the brain and spinal cord, which is why they receive spinal taps every month, because the leukemia that they receive, the chemotherapy that they received orally doesn't cross the brain barrier. So they have to treat the spine and the brain separately. So they get spinal taps once a month for that, and then he gets chemotherapy orally every day at home. And then he gets a chemo infusion once a month. And that just continues over and over until he's done with chemo, which is May 9th.
And it's 3 years straight, regardless of anything. There's it's just you're signing up for 3 years.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
It's a long, yes.
I can imagine the end of a long road.
Yes, long road.
How you doing, buddy? You good? You look great. Yeah? You excited? You got your jersey? So I'm curious to know about what you guys like to do, your future, your dreams. You want to be a pro hockey player? What do you want to do? The sky, I'm here to tell you the sky is the limit.
You, Luke, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm 9 years old, and my name is Luke, and I've been playing hockey for a long time now.
There you go. Ice hockey, roller hockey, deck hockey, all of it.
Deck hockey and ice hockey.
There you go.
And I play a lot of it, and most of the time. And yeah, I want to be a professional hockey player for the Islanders, and I'll try my hardest to get there.
There you go. What position do you want to play?
Defenseman.
Yeah. What about you, buddy? Hockey too? It's all hockey all the time for you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What position do you want to play?
Kind of offense.
Offense? Yeah. So I want to share something with you guys that I hope you remember this. I wish somebody told me this at your age. So anything, I was a very misunderstood kid that often got thrown out of class and had a disciplinary problem. But I wish somebody had told me at the time was that anything is possible and what it takes to be great. All right. So if you really want to be a pro hockey player or anything in this world, you have to have this unbelievable commitment to it, like almost like an obsession. That's what it takes to be great. So if you really want it, you got to do it 180% all the time. And there's going to be times where you feel like you can't go anymore. But in those moments when you feel like you can't go anymore, that's when you have to push forward, because in those moments, that's where unbelievably life-changing things happen for you. And it has to be uncomfortable, but on the other side of discomfort is something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. So hopefully you remember that, because I wish somebody had told me that at your age, because if they did, maybe I would have been a pro hockey player, although I'm a little on the small side.
It's all right.
When I graduated high school, I was like 5'9", 130 pounds.
That's good advice, right, boys?
Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah. So that's great. Is there anything else that you want to share, want to talk about? I actually wanted to touch a little bit about, and I think people aren't aware of this, as we discussed before, about the treatment options that are available to children and how there's such a lack of that, and then why that is, and then what LLS and ultimately what we're all doing to try and rectify that.
Right. So, I mean, if there's anything that I want to say to everyone is that just because cancer might not be affecting you at the moment, or you might not know someone at the moment, someone out there is suffering. And before Ryan got diagnosed, obviously we weren't in this world, so I had no awareness of the lack of funding for pediatric cancer or anything that really went on with pediatric cancer, to be honest.
Why is that? Is it that there's a smaller percentage of the population? Like, why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly think that it's overlooked because there's just, I think more of the funding goes towards the adults, and more, the breast cancer is a huge thing. So they do more of the research, more of the funding goes towards breast cancer. It's more popular. And I hate saying popular because it's such a gross word to describe cancer, but that's the way it is. It's like, I don't think there's enough people behind pediatric cancer fighting for it to be in the forefront. And I think, hoping LLS with their new initiative of having this pediatric division, they can bring more awareness to it, and we can bring more of it to the forefront and get more than 4% of the national funding that is getting today. Yeah. And, I mean, kids shouldn't be taking adult drugs that are watered down, and kids shouldn't be, taking drugs that haven't been updated since 1980. It's kind of, it's ignorant, because this is our future, and these are the people that are going to be, hopefully we look to, for the future. So, I mean, you would think that they would want to put more money there. So that would be my advice: get involved and try to get involved in the pediatric aspect.
So it's strictly a funding problem.
I think it's a funding problem. I think it's, I don't know. I don't know if there's lack of awareness, I don't think people think that pediatric cancer is as rampant as it is. Yeah. I don't think that they think...
I had no idea until getting involved with MLS.
Right.
I had no idea.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Right. And that might, I think that you're right, Jim. I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And, like I said, until you're in it, you don't realize how many children are affected by cancer. I mean, the amount of children, obviously, that we've met through this process,
Yeah.
I'd rather have not. It's, you know, we've seen sick kids, we've seen kids get better, we've seen kids that haven't gotten better. I mean, it's a sad process, you know, and there's a lot more kids out there that are affected by cancer than you can imagine. A lot more.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody, LS is an unbelievable organization. They run things year round, but the Man and Woman of the Year event is, we had the unofficial kickoff a few weeks ago, and the other competitors, and I hate to use the word competitors because we're all here for the same cause, are just unbelievable people in their respective fields. And it's just going to be an unbelievable 10-week period. We have a number of events that we're doing. Specifically, the one I want to promote right now is we have rented out the Tilla Center on the CW Post campus, which is 2,250 seats. I have contacted the 8 top real estate investors on Long Island, the best of the best in what they do in fix and flip, multifamily, construction, tax liens, tax deeds, real estate sales. Top, best of the best people in their respective fields within real estate. They're going to come in for one day and one day only, never to happen again, for the benefit of the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, specifically to attempt to eradicate childhood cancer. So tickets are going to go on sale on Monday, which is the 24th. It's going to be an awesome experience. You're going to learn a lot. We're going to change a lot of lives, and we're going to raise a ton of money. When we sell out that event, we can essentially raise $1 million.
Wow.
It is absolute life changer. And on top of bringing awareness and raising all that money, we are going to educate 2,200 people on Long Island on, you know, financial independence, building wealth, and we're going to give them, you know, unique information that you don't get in the public school system. I know that I didn't. I had to seek that out. So we're going to sell 2,000 tickets. Again, they will be available. We're going to start heavily marketing for that on Monday. They'll be available on Monday for reserve, and we're going to give away 250 tickets to high school kids who are interested in learning about real estate, but who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to be in this arena with this group of people.
That's fantastic.
So it's going to be a very, very cool event.
Okay, so I understand both you guys are big hockey fans, right? You play at home. Little known secret, I played hockey my entire life. From 6 years old, played for 2 teams called the Nassau County Lions and the Oyster Bay Gulls. You may or may not have heard of them. So I traveled around. I really appreciate my parents now because of this. I always did, but when you get older now, you really start to. So 5:30 a.m. practices at Mitchell Field on Sundays, tournaments every weekend. It was a lot. So I was a defenseman. And I have a friend who's a defenseman who happens to play on the Islanders. So I understand that you're a pretty big Islanders fan. You guys Islander fans?
Yeah.
You ever heard of a gentleman whose name is Devon Tays?
Yes.
So Devon Tays, in my opinion, could be one of the greatest defensemen of all time. Young guy, 25 years old, just started his career. So I called him and I told him about you and I told him about your story. And he went and got some jerseys made up with his name, which I was like, great, I'll give them to him. He said, you know, one thing better, I'm flying in. They had a game last night. He's like, we're flying in to Republic Airport in Farmingdale. I'm going to come by and I'm going to give them to Luke and Ryan, and I'm going to autograph them and some hats. And you think they would like that? And I said, I really think they would like that. So you guys excited?
Yes.
To meet Devon?
Yes.